Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about creating forms in Microsoft 365 with a focus on accessibility and especially around using the Microsoft Forms tool itself. So there are a number of tools you can use in Microsoft 365 to develop forms. And let's take a look at some of those now and talk about some pros and cons. So first of all, what we'll focus on with this talk is mostly Microsoft Forms. Now, provides surveys, quizzes, and a really good feedback tool all around. Uh, Great for surveys. It's super easy to use, really quick to create forms, and it is mobile friendly, works good on your mobile devices. One of the things that Forms provides that I really like is the anonymous capability. So you can set your forms up so that anybody can respond to them. And we've used these on websites for gathering information for multi-million-dollar businesses, actually. So it works pretty well. And then we can add automation to the back of them, Power Automate flows. But the logic is pretty limited and it's a pretty basic UI. You can't change the layout very much. The other one that's more of an up and coming tool is the SharePoint list form. And this can't be anonymous. It's only for people that can access the lists, can access these forms, but it is permission controlled because it's attached right to the list. I find that the UI, the user interface, is much less intuitive and much limiting. And in fact, I didn't write it down here, but I've had it crash on me quite a few times and change a form, work on a form, and then the changes aren't saved. So still feels like a young product, but as it moves forward, it almost looks like this lists forms tool may replace Microsoft Forms. I don't know, it may remains to be seen. And the third tool mentioned here is good old Power Apps. Power Apps is the all-powerful form builder creating applications, right? So you can create custom apps with complex logic, super customizable, with responsive layouts, can make really professional looking forms, but much steeper learning curve. It's a lot more work to figure out how to use this tool and debug it and maintain it. And it may require additional licensing. So there's definitely some cons to it. If you really need a hot looking form, Power Apps is the way to go. But these are like 20 times, 100 times faster to build Microsoft Forms. So let's talk about some general forms design guidelines, if you will. So first of all, make sure you're using clear descriptive labels. Each question that you pose should have a meaningful title. I like to use subtitles in my forms. I'll show you that now. So here's a sample form. When I insert a new question, let's say it's a text question, I have a question and a subtitle here. So by default, that's coming up. You can turn the subtitles off over here if you want, but I recommend not doing so. So question and subtitles. So here's an example here. When was your last rough M365 experience? Well, last time this challenge occurred, approximate is fine. So see the subtitle is there. Let me just go into preview mode so it's just easier to see that. Okay, you see the subtitle pops up there and I made it italics just to make it look a little standoutish. So secondly, use simple inclusive language. So this is a university course on its own, but here's a simple example. When was your last rough M365 experience? Compared to when was the last time this challenge occurred? So notice I forgot the question mark here. I'm using M365. Rough is kind of a colloquialism. So just consider that and pay attention to it, and maybe even have some other people check your wording to see if you're using good plain language or if there's idioms that have snuck in or cultural specific references that you didn't even notice. Add alt text to images. So if you are including images, always add the alt text for screen readers. So this is really important for accessibility. So any of these questions, you can add an image. Let me just edit this one for a second. You can add an image to any question by clicking on it, and you could add an image here. Let me just insert an image that I've already got. Add. So notice the image, it has a little edit pencil beside it. If I click on that, I can change different zoom and such. Here is the alternative text. So here I could add some text for a light bulb image, whatever. So whenever you're adding any images, add that alt text. Maintain high contrast and readability. So using the default themes, or check the contrast manually. So avoid using dark text on dark backgrounds or light text on light backgrounds. And don't just try and rely on color to convey meaning. So the default themes, I always use default themes anyway with these forms. So up here, the style, and you can choose different layouts and different themes. I always use one of these standard ones, so you don't generally have to worry about it, but it is a good thing to mention that not everybody can read colors the same way. Using branching thoughtfully, so you do have the ability to set branching in Microsoft Forms forms. If they answer yes to this question, we'll go to this section versus this section. That is a really useful tool to make a form very accessible, but just make sure it's really clear what's happening. People can get lost in the forms, especially if the logic is complex. And avoid time limits. So in Microsoft Forms, this just applies to quizzes, not regular forms. If you're creating a quiz in Microsoft Forms, you can set a timer, but don't. This can be quite frustrating for people that may have motor challenges, etc. So don't use the time limits. Preview on multiple devices. Yep, you want it good, fast, or cheap. Well, take a little extra time to make it good by testing your form on the desktop, tablet, mobile, whatever devices your people might be using. Make sure that it displays well. As I mentioned, Microsoft Forms does a great job of this, but don't expect it to be perfect, so better to test. And check if people are using touch versus keyboard. Keyboard shortcuts are really useful. They are built into forms, but good to test them as well. And lastly, provide help or contact information. So I like to include a short note where relevant at the end with support options. Need help, contact us. Let me just show you. You could put that right on the form itself, maybe add a text down here somewhere. But what I like to do as well is when I go in the settings, you can scroll down and you can customize the thank you message. So here, the default is thank you for responding or something like that. And you can type whatever you want in here. So I've said, if you have any questions or follow-up ideas, please contact me at this email address. So that can be a little bit friendlier as well. Okay. And then you can further simplify it by not allowing respondents to save their responses. That just saves one prompt. You leave that off. It doesn't ask them at the end, do you want to save your response and come back? So those are just some quick tips in building your forms a little bit better, make them more accessible, more engaging, and more useful for the people that are going to be filling in your forms. Again, Microsoft forms are really quick and easy to build and don't provide a lot of ability to customize the layout. So trade-offs, life is full of them. If I can help in any way, please reach out. And we do have an intranet Fast-Track Kit now, which includes both of my books and a checklist to help you build your intranet a little bit faster. And lots more content coming, so stay tuned. Thanks all. Bye for now.